My name is Carly Weetman, and I'm a business administration and economics student with a specialization in finance, and I'm from Westminster, Maryland.
My name is Andrew Roberts. I'm an economics and accounting major from Downingtown, Pennsylvania.
So I was walking to class one day, and a professor stopped me and asked if I wanted to go to China the next summer, and I kind of looked at him like, what are you talking about? Next thing I knew, we were applying for a grant from the Asian Network, and I was going to spend 3.5 weeks traveling through 5 different cities in China.
We were going to be doing research on this art form called tihua, where they heat up metal very hot and they kind of hammer it into these really cool looking paintings. It's a traditional Chinese art form that's been around for about 200 years.
Most of our research was qualitative, I think because a lot of research hasn't been done on the tihua industry. So we worked a lot with hosting discussions and interviews and interviewing masters in the industry and artisans. We went into these factories and sat down with 10 or 15 people and asked personal questions about how has the industry affected their personal life.
What we were looking at was how the move from a communist economy to a more privatized one in China, like they did in the 1980s, how that affected the tihua industry. And before it was a state-run factory where all the masters were under one roof working on the same things, and the state basically controlled everything. After the 1980s, they were free to break off and create their own firms.
I think we visited about 7 or 8 of those and interviewed workers, and we saw that they had more creative freedom. They were able to manage the market, set their own price levels and their own production levels, and really tell what their customers were looking for, and be able to have the freedom to create new and interesting markets and pieces.
What we learn in economics is that a privatized economy is the best way to allocate resources effectively and the most efficiently, and to get what people want into their hands at the price that they're willing to pay for it. So what we found after doing this was that privatization of the whole market economy in China really benefited the tihua industry in many different ways, from their quality of the work they were producing, the different types of paintings that they were able to produce now that they had creative freedom. And they were at much higher pay for themselves now. They have a better quality of life. They really, everybody we talked to really agreed that the privatization was better for the industry than the system before.
I think what we found most interesting was that outside of the economics and outside of the theories and what we expected, we saw a definite cultural influence from the Chinese culture, that we would expect them to be sort of in competition with each other because one firm is competing against another, but actually they're really kind of working together to promote tihua and preserve the art form. And there's a lot of work actually with the government and subsidies and programs that help support this art and keep it preserved for a longer term.
This entire process was a really cool supplement to our education here at McDaniel, to be able to go into the real world and see what we learn here in the classroom applied, and that it's actually, what we learn is actually what happens in the real world. So that was really cool, and my favorite part of the whole thing.
So after I graduate, I will be working for a financial firm here in Maryland starting in August.
After graduation, I'm going to be spending my summer studying for and taking the CPA exam, and then starting in an accounting firm in October.